Do you suffer from the debilitating symptoms of chronic pain, swelling, and loss of joint motion due to arthritis? Are you taking drugs like Celebrex and Vioxx or other super aspirin prescriptions? If you are, you're increasing the risk of heart attack and stroke by up to 50%. This is Dr. Tom Roselle, host of Dr. Tom Roselle Live Sundays at 12 noon. Why live with pain or the dangerous side effects of drugs when the doctors at the Roselle Center for Healing, practicing 21st century integrative medicine, can help you experience relief like never before? Simple, safe, chiropractic, acupuncture, and nutritional care can provide significant relief from arthritic pain in less than 6 weeks. More than 70% of our patients experience a return to life far beyond their expectations. Give yourself the best gift possible, freedom from arthritic pain, naturally. Call today to schedule an appointment. Call 703-698-7117 or visit online at rosellecare.com.
Dr. Tom Roselle Live, right now, on 105.9 FM and AM 630 WMAL.
Welcome to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. This is Dr. Tom Roselle live in studio, waiting to take your phone calls, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. Love to talk to you on any subject you have in mind. Perhaps you've had a problem, you've tried, you've applied, you've tried to do the same old thing except better. Well, guess what? It doesn't work. Well, here's an opportunity for you to put it out without drugs, without surgery, to really find something that works for you. Opportunity awaits. Give me a call, 888-630-9625. Have a lot of very interesting tidbits for you today. Matter of fact, things in the news nutritionally, but things in the news governmentally as well. The last several weeks I've been interviewed on a different network on the relationship between the physician and the patient as it begins to unfold relative to national health care or the Affordable Care Act, or also known as Obamacare. And there's a lot of things that have come up that, even the people who have interviewed me looking at me and say, well, where did you get this information? And the bottom line is, I read the bill. See, I'm one of these crazy people that has been briefing other organizations, and we downloaded this massive 2,700 pages, and trust me, it was one of these things that can put you to sleep, but because it irritated me, I didn't go to sleep. And so we began to put the pieces together. The problem, and as I said many times to those of you who heard me lecture, with the Affordable Care Act bill is simply this. It relies on other pieces of information. It's not just the 2,700 pieces of legislation. It relies on other things that are associated with, a flyer they came out with at a certain date from Health, Human Services, and so forth. Anyway, government regulation results, and let's just go to the bottom line with some of the things that we all need to be concerned about. I mean, there are things that are going to really scare you, but more importantly, the cost, the impact to your pocketbook, as all of us are starting to find out now, is huge. Any type of government regulation results in higher prices. In my opinion, and having been in practice 37 years, poor quality of delivery and lack of the ability to step outside the box, if you will, called innovation. There's a complaint that you hear on an ongoing basis. It's called regulated economies. And what that really means, as a socialistic system or a communistic system, we've always had free enterprise in this country. We've always had the capacity to let people compete against each other, and it has always often resulted and usually results in better quality of service. Now, you have to have a regulated playing field, meaning that here's the football field, if you will, or here's the basketball court, here's the rules of the game, but you can do what you need to do within the rules of those parameters. But when government, in my opinion, and I'm going over this because I've been doing it for the last several weeks on different networks, when government exerts control, and absolute control, the bottom line is that things become routine. No longer can you play outside the box, and people begin to suffer, and it's unfortunate. The projections, and this is coming out from many, many different sources now, the projection of loss of primary care physicians in the healthcare delivery system is somewhere up to, they're projecting initially about 65,000 shortages of physicians. That means about 38% of all practicing docs will leave. They're either going to go into teaching or they're going to go into some other form of scientific discovery or research, or they're just going to quit. They're going to die. They're going to, they say we're finished, and nobody's going to fill the gap. And so you're going to see physicians, assistants, and nurse practitioners as the initial entry into the portal of healthcare, which is not a bad thing, by the way, because in my opinion, sometimes they do a hell of a lot better job than most other people that are, writing prescriptions and doing, at least they listen periodically. But regulations that cause sick care costs, if you will, to be so over the top, the federal government wrote something in the neighborhood of about 900 pages of implementation on this Affordable Care Act. And that's just beginning. That's just scratching the surface. They really don't know what they don't know. And going forward, within 3 to 5 years of full implementation, what's going to take place, and the projections already are simply this, that physicians will no longer, at least the majority of them, 83% is the projection, will no longer be independent. They will be working for Uncle Sugar for a salary. And regardless if they see 5 patients or they see 5,000 patients, they're going to get paid the same thing. Because there's a piece in the bill that says that no doctor who takes reimbursement from the government will be paid differently, regardless of specialty, than any other doctor, plus the fact that when they reach a certain level of payment from the government, they're done. The government won't pay them another nickel. So it takes the incentive out of working, and you end up what's happening in Italy, what happens in France and England and so forth. And now, a quick story, a friend of mine went to Italy with his son, and they went to see the World Cup soccer tournament last year, and the son was injured, and he hurt himself, and they went to the emergency room at one of the Italian hospitals, and they waited, and they waited, and they waited, and there was nobody around. And the son happens to be a medical physician in this country. So the father gets up, goes down the hallway looking for somebody, and he finds 4 doctors in a room watching the World Cup game. And he tells them, he said, in Italian, he said, hey, listen, what's the deal here? My son is waiting. So, the game's almost over. We'll be right there. He'll be fine. And so in Italian, he tells them that my son is a doctor. Oh, your son is a doctor. So what does he do? One of the doctors came out and they attended the son. So that's the quality of health care that you're going to be subject to as time goes on. The numbers are ridiculous. As I said to you earlier, something in the neighborhood of about 62 to 63,000 fewer doctors are going to be, there's basically a deficit. And the shortfall of doctors over time is going to be over 100,000 doctors. It's not going to be good. Now, there's the good, there's the bad. There's the pros versus the cons in this whole situation. And, the big winner in this, as I've said continually, is Big Pharma, because you're just going to get drugs. You're not going to get anything else. There's going to be monitoring of services, those death panels that you talked about. Well, we won't call them death panels, but they're going to be bureaucratic boards that are going to look at the necessity of giving you what you need to get, that degenerative hip that you've been ignoring for all these years. Now you have to have surgery, and you happen to be in your 70s and you're not working anymore. Well, guess what you're going to get? You're going to get a quad cane, and you're going to get medication. And, if you happen to be more productive, maybe they'll look at it differently, but it's going to take the decision-making process away from you and your physician. So, we could spend the rest of the program on this, but I'm not going to. And I'm going to blog about it a little bit more, but if you go to my website, if you go to drtomroselle.com, drtomroselle.com, you'll find where I've been interviewed, and perhaps you can tune in. We'll have another one this week. It'll be on Thursday morning. That's all I can tell you on this station, but nevertheless, check it out. And by the way, our Richmond listeners, you'll find that that's easily found out for you. So let's get on to some more important things that can help you and save your life and make a difference. There's things in the news and things that I want you to know about. Interesting thing. We'll go back to our old friend vitamin D, really important little vitamin. A recent study in the Journal of Nutritional Reviews published within the last 6, 7, 8 months. There's a guy by the name of Dr. Philippe Hujol of the University of Washington in Seattle, and he found that the association between increased vitamin D and guess what? Reduced tooth decay in children. Imagine that. So guess what? You may not need to have that fluoride treatment, which is going to destroy kidneys and cause a problem with heart, and yes, it does. And, the study was quite a broad-based study. It included about 2,800 children, ages from 2 to 16. And the vitamin D was increased by supplemental form, and it was given to them either in supplemental form with vitamin D3 or cod liver oil or ultraviolet light to stimulate the production of vitamin D. And then they followed this thing up 12 months later, and what they found was significant, is that the tooth decay was decreased by a minimum of 47% with the children that were given vitamin D or stimulated vitamin D production in their body. So guess what happens if you can harden enamel that way, and by the way, that number far supersedes anything that you can do with fluoride. We're missing the boat here, aren't we? We're looking at a very simple solution to another cost that we don't have to expend. Guess what happens if you don't have to go through this? You save your health because of you're not exposing yourself to the side effects, but more importantly, you're doing something proactive. Also, guys, I've been telling you this for a long time. Vitamin D supplementation dramatically improves your outcome if you unfortunately have prostate cancer. Another interesting article recently in Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, they went to see that the benefits of vitamin D supplementation after the fact, that means you already got the cancer. And by the way, we already know that if you take vitamin D at significant levels, that you already dramatically decrease your risk of prostate cancer. But after the fact, that you decrease your risk of progressing into a more aggressive form of cancer, and also the healing factor, the healing quotient includes. This trial was Black American males. It was a smaller study, and the dosage of supplementation, in my opinion, was quite low. It was only 4,000 units of vitamin D, but nevertheless, what they saw is that people who were treated with vitamin D had 55% lower progressions in their Gleason scores, which is significant. In contrast, 63% of the men in the untreated group progressed. That all by itself should give you a heads up. Now coming into the summertime, we're just a few short weeks away from May. Well, from May 1 until September 1, if you get outside, you begin to get enough vitamin D. But that means that you can't put sunblock on either. And that means that you can't use soap and water that blocks the receptor sites in your skin. So go outside and, take your shirt off, mow the lawn, ladies, halter top, get some vitamin D, natural D. But you're just going to have to still take some anyway. Meanwhile, let's go to the phone. Steve, how can I help you? Thank you for calling.
Hey, doctor. Listen, I have never had allergies before. I guess last year I had a little itching in my eyes in the spring. This spring, I tell you, I've got my head feels like it's going to blow apart. I'm all stopped up. My eyes are really burning, etc. So I wanted to ask you some natural remedies for trying to deal with this allergy pollen thing that's so prevalent.
Okay, so there's several things that can be done. And what happens with a lot of people over time where they've never had springtime allergies is that their fight-flight system, their adrenal system, because it's stressed out, because dietary patterns haven't been exact, and this obviously is a broad brush, not necessarily directed to you. But what happens is we begin to wane, so we can't put out the steroids. Meaning we can't get them into our bodies to fight what's going on. But a lot of things that we do this time of the year is simple supplementation of hydrochloric acid or betaine hydrochloride, which is a hydrochloric acid precursor that you would take with your meal. It's a natural stuff that your body should be producing from your stomach, and that attacks the stuff. And then you want to shift your body as alkaline as you can. You want to take quercetin at pretty significant levels, up to 1,000 milligrams a day, divided dosage over the day, and eliminate any of the mold types of foods, things like dairy products and cheeses and sugars and alcohol and things that are fermented, mushrooms because of their mold characteristics, and also peanuts and peanut butter. Just doing that, and also taking a couple tablespoons of an organic apple cider vinegar in the morning on an empty stomach in a glass of water will also alkalinize the body. Steve, it makes a big difference. Thank you for calling. I really appreciate your phone call. Big problem. We're starting to see a lot of it. People want to go to sleep this time of the year. It's like they can't figure out why they feel like they're drugged. That's the reason. You're reacting to those things, and you can make some modifications. And obviously, get treated. See somebody that does the work that we do, and you can make a big difference in your life. We're coming up to a break. Have to be respectful to the people who pay for Dr. Tom Roselle Live. Don't go away. We'll be right back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle, author of Ageless Health. Health is a do-it-yourself program. My book, now also available in audio version, is a step-by-step program of how to take control of your health and wellness without drugs or needless surgery. You have the capacity to change your health and level of well-being. Take control of your health today and order Health is a Do-It-Yourself program.
For more information and to order, please visit agelesshealthbook.com. That's agelesshealthbook.com. Educate, engage, empower. Take control of your health with Dr. Tom Roselle and the Roselle Center for Healing. Information is power. Achieve an ultimate state of wellness with Dr. Tom Roselle's Education Lecture Series video on demand. Discover how to create an extraordinary life of optimal health and wellness. Visit drtomroselle.com/education. That's drtomroselle.com/education.
Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle live in studio. It's beautiful outside, but you should be listening to me today. Give me a call, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. Love to talk to you on any subject you have in mind. I've got a lot of them today. We're talking about things that are going to be controversial, things that are going to help you, things that may save your life. So here's the deal. Call me if you'd like to talk to me, and if you'd like to get a hold of me offline, go to drtomroselle.com. drtomroselle.com. Write me. And if you want to talk to one of my doctors, if you'd like to have some, a minute or two or three of one-on-one personal information and guidance, you can always call us at 703-698-7117. Save a date. Like you get those cards and you need to put it on the calendar so you don't do anything on that date. Well, here's a date that you have to save for this year. It's October the 19th. October the 19th, 2013. What's that? That's our Ageless Health presentation, our conference that we have every year. It's a day that'll knock your socks off. It's a day that will give you the tools, the capacity, the ability to change anything in your life. Those of you who've attended before know that this is a powerful, impactful day. So circle the calendar, October the 9th. Starting the first part of May, you'll be able to go onto our website, both rosellecare.com and drtomroselle.com, and you'll be able to see all the information. You'll be able to register early. You'll be able to save some money. This year's conference will be very different. There's going to be a lot of interactive capacity to learn. We're going to give you tools. We're going to show you how to do them. We're going to involve you. It's going to be a fun day. As you know, it starts early. We do a pre-conference teaching you how to exercise and so forth, and you don't break a sweat, but it's going to be, my daughter, Erin Roselle Poe, is the one that leads that through, and we're going to be doing some things with energetic exercise, and then we start. And the information this year is amazing. It's going to be critical that you are able to take this and apply it to your lives, because guess what? You're going to be living a whole lot longer than you anticipate. Actually, as time goes on, meaning the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years, there's going to be more of you living excess of 100 years. The projections are by 2060, a lot of years from now, right? You think? But by 2060, there's going to be in excess of 700,000 of you that are going to live over 100 years. 700,000. Now, you have a choice. You can live really well, or you can kind of suffer the slings and arrows. By 2020, and that's not a long time from now, that's only 7 years from now, there'll be about 110,000 centenarians in the United States of America, and many more throughout the planet. And we don't fare as well as other people do. So there's going to be about 110,000 of us that are going to reach that age. So if you're listening to me right now, the chances are that you're going to live a whole lot longer than you anticipate, simply because of the way our genetic makeups are extending life. The vibrational levels of our body are extending. And see, this has to do with something called telemirs. And telomeres are the entails of the genetic code. And the shorter they get, the quicker you leave. The longer they are, the better off that you are on this planet. We're going to talk about that in detail in the next half of the program and what you can do to protect yourself. But meanwhile, we're going to go to the phones. Claire, thank you for calling. How can I help you?
Hi, Dr. Roselle. I've been in pain with my knee for over 3 months. I've been to an orthopedist, and I've been in therapy for 10 weeks, and I still have the same amount of pain. The doctor said my knee looks like a 50-year-old, but I have arthritis, and he has suggested as the last resort to do arthroscopic surgery to remove and clean out the arthritis. And I wanted to know your opinion on that, and also your opinion on a cortisone shot.
Okay, first of all, you don't do cortisone. Cortisone will destroy the joint. It'll break it down even faster. And if you're taking any kind of aspirin or aspirin-like products, they're called NSAID, non-steroidal anti-inflammatories, these will also cause the joint to break down faster. A lot of people take 81 milligrams of aspirin. One of the side effects is joint destruction. And, they don't market that because then they can't sell it to you. But nevertheless, when you have knee pain, you don't look just at the joint. You look at all the things around the joint space. You look at the muscle balances between them. Remember, from our point of view, every muscle in the body has a relationship to an organ system, and it does it via the nervous system because the nerves come out, they divide, they go to the organ, they go to the muscle, so there's a constant communication. There's a communication nutritionally, there's a communication energetically, there's a communication neurologically. So you have to look at the entire elements. You look at the biochemical pieces, the sugar, sodas, coffee, teas, fast food, fried foods, alcohol, gluten, my mantra. Those things will cause the body to be more acidic, so it causes the body to break down even faster. So there are things that can be done, but you have to look at all the pieces. The acupuncture system is involved. The adrenal, the fight-flight system is involved. So in your situation where you have a joint space that's in decent shape, that you have a joint of a 50-year-old, that tells me that can be resolved. That can be turned around 100%. Listen, get a hold of me at drtomroselle.com or, give us a call. I mean, you're close by and, one of our doctors will step up to the plate and help you. We have to take a break for the news and some very important information. Don't go away. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. We're in studio, 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. Love to talk to you. Anything you've got on your mind, let's see if we can work through it and kind of open a different doorway for you. There's so many things that you can do on your own. There's so many fixes that are available to you without drugs, without surgery. Just remember, there's only 3 things that cause anything, no matter what it is. And whether it's a state of health or whether it's a state of dysfunction, disease, it's either injury to the body, it's biochemical imbalance, or it's emotional stress. And usually all 3 of those things play a part because they all interrelate one to the other. So that's what the purpose is to get you to open up and to be able to do your own research, to understand that you have the opportunity to fix anything as long as you're breathing. If you're listening to me, you can make a difference in your life. You can turn things around. You can handle things a whole lot differently. And there's ways of getting that handled. That's why I'm here. That's why we do the program. That's why we have the conversations that we have offline through email in the office. And, I let you know that here are the tools. That's why we do Ageless Health in the fall on October 19th. Don't forget that. That's a day that I promise you will shift all kinds of thought processes in your brain and that we will empower you to do things that are above the cut. Let's talk a little bit about, and we're going to go back to the phones, but let's talk a little bit about this aging thing that we talked just about before the news. We're going to get older, all of us. There's only one exit strategy that I know about, and, all of us are going to succumb to it sometime or the other. We're going to leave, but it's the process of leaving. But in between, we seem to be sticking around a whole lot longer. And if you're going to stick around longer, the quality is important. We must maintain quality. If you understand what happens when you take hot acid and pour it on any substance whatsoever, you understand that it gets burned up, it gets destroyed, it's eaten, it's eroded, it becomes crusty. See, when your body is acidic, you become eaten up and destroyed and you become crusty. Well, some of you are crusty anyway, but nevertheless, the problem is that we need to shift that so we can maintain the quality of your stay on this planet as you go from one day to the next, to the next, to the next. So what does that mean? What do you have to do? Well, things are out there and you need to understand more and more about them. We talked a little bit about telomeres. And we talked about the length of the telomeres, and we've mentioned this over time. And if the telomeres are long, you stay around longer, and the quality of your life is usually decent. But if you have a rapid shortening of the telomere length, then we see age-related diseases, including heart disease and cancers and degenerative things and so forth. But there's been a lot of information now that has been put before us that has substantiated many of the things that I've said over a period of many years. Interesting study in the European Journal of Clinical Nutrition showed that if you eat a lot of vegetables and fruit, that you dramatically stop the rapid shortening of the telomere, but also you begin to reverse them. And in the study, men also experienced a decrease in the average telomere length when they had an increased fat intake in their body. So but particularly from butter. And that was interesting. So guys, listen, when you want to put the spread on there, you want to go out and put that butter, don't do that. Go to olive oil. It's better for you, and it's not going to shorten your lifespan. But researchers measured white blood cells, and they measured the telomere length in almost 2,000 men and women. And what they found was simply this. People who ate less good foods like vegetables and fruits and ate a lot of garbage that were high in fats, and particularly saturated fats, had shorter telomeres. It's not okay. So you have to make sure. And by the way, this finding was skewed to men. Guys, you suffer worse than women. That's why you die sooner. So get rid of the junk, increase the alkalinity of your body. Get rid of the sugar, sodas, coffee, teas, fast food, fried foods, alcohol, gluten additives, preservatives. And by the way, there's a shirt like that we have. Go on drtomroselle.com. We have a shirt, and it has all those things in it. The circle with the hash mark through it. It's really cool. You ought to get one for yourself. And pick up a copy of my book when you do the same thing. Let's go to the phones. Carol, how can I help you?
Hi. I'd like to know what a new patient experiences, like what tests are given and how long it takes to diagnose what's going on with you and all that.
Well, Carol, it depends on the problem. So let me kind of walk you through what happens when you see somebody in my practice or you see somebody that does the kind of work that we do or which should be done. And, so a typical experience, a new patient visit in our office is basically an unveiling of answering the question, why is that? What really caused the problem? Not just fixing the symptom process. Because if we treat symptoms even naturally, you're still treating symptoms and you're not fixing anything. So you come in and we do initial history like you go in any doc's office, but we start getting in depth. So you're going to fill out some forms, and then you get your blood pressure's taken. But interestingly, we do blood pressures in 3 postures all the time. The reason, because the postural differences in blood pressures, if they fall, if they stay up, if they drop, if they get too high, tells us different things about the body. Then we do a screening process in the acupuncture system, and we check electrically we check the 24 entry points into the acupuncture system. Then we do a biomechanical gait scan. Then after all that, then you get to see the doc. Or the acupuncturist or the nutritionist. And then we start getting into a history, but the history starts asking questions like, when was the very first time you experienced this? Were there any traumas? Were there any emotional traumas? Biochemically, where did you live? How many injections have you had? Antibiotics? Have you ever been hospitalized? Even if you're coming in for an allergy reaction. All these things are important. What kind of dental work have you had done? What, and so forth and so on. Where did you, where did you grow up? Have you traveled outside the country? And people look at me like, why are you asking me all these questions? I just came in here because I've had a series of headaches that won't go away. So as you go through that, then when we're all done, then we do what's called an applied kinesiological examination that is part neurological and neuromuscular testing, because through the neuromuscle system, you can have a look at the internal environment as well as the external environment, because we said every muscle in the body is representative often of an internal something, but particularly an organ system. So if we have a knee problem, for example, let's say a patient says, listen, I have a knee problem, it's never hurt me before, and all of a sudden it just showed up. Well, we're going to check and we're going to test every muscle in the knee, the quadriceps, the sartorius, the hamstring, the external muscle, the iliotibial band, the internal muscles, the adductors, and the gracilis muscle. They all have relationships. So, for example, if we saw the quadricep, the thigh muscle, weak, and it relates to different acupuncture acupuncture points and so forth, we can then begin to think maybe it's nerve, which is the third lumbar nerve root, or it can be intestinal tract, which is the organ relationship, and then we start looking at their dietary patterns and so forth. So then after all that's done, and we go through a complete examination process, some patients, because of structural problems, and they've been there for a long time, and we don't x-ray, everybody who has a structural problem, but if we need to, we send them out for films, and then we may do some functional medicine tests like adrenal stress indexes and heavy metal tests and stool analysis that gives us not only the good stuff that's in there, but the bad guys, the parasites, the imbalances of fatty acids and so forth, and gluten sensitivities. And then if we need something after that, we may do in-house allergy testing from a point of neuromuscle testing. And all of that stuff is standard, but it's different based on the patient and based on their history and based on what's going on with them. Does that help you? Did I confuse you?
Patient, how many times would you have to come for all that stuff?
That's all done on one visit.
You're kidding me.
That's the first visit. Your intake time in our office is over an hour and a half. And then you come back on a second visit, and if we have any of the things that we've ordered outside the office, we'll have the information back. We sit down with you on that second visit. By the way, it's included in your first visit. And then the doctor will sit with you and go over everything, explain the interrelationships, and then give you options of care. And then it's your choice. It depends on your goals and what you want to achieve. And they'll say, listen, we can do this or we can do this. But, oh, by the way, we need you as a partner in this process because it's not doing it to you, it's doing it with you. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah, it sure does.
Okay, good. Carol, if I can help.
An awful lot of stuff.
It is. It has to be in depth. And, the thing of it is that in any problem that we have in our life, no matter what it is, there's a timeline. There's something that's happened up until that moment that all of a sudden the straw that broke the camel's back took place, and now you begin to portray the symptoms. Headaches are not just headaches, and headaches are not aspirin deficiencies. There's a reason for it. For example, somebody who has a headache gets pain behind their eyeball and comes from the back of their head. That often is a gallbladder problem, but it's going to affect the structure. Why the gallbladder? Because gallbladder acupuncture channel starts in the eye on the outer canthus, goes up over the back of the head and ends all the way down on the foot. So you look at time frames, you look at when something happens, you look at the characteristic of it, and then based on that, and you know what the hardest part is, Carol? The hardest part is getting the patient to step in and be a partner, to change lifestyle, to do the things they need to do. And unfortunately, if it's a chronic problem, it takes time for the body to repair. So the two of us, the patient and the doctor, has to be proactive and working the problem through until you get to a place where now you can tweak it. You can just fine-tune things. I hope that helps.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Thanks, Carol. Thanks for your call. I appreciate it. 888-630-9625. That's 888-630-9625. You're listening to Dr. Tom Roselle Live. We have a lot of things to go over today. The problem with this program, it's like way too short. And there's so much that I want to teach you and so much I want to give to you. But that's why we do our in-house continuing education programs every other week on different topics. That's why we have an introductory to applied kinesiology and the triad of health and the 5 factors that we do on opposite weeks. That's why we do our outreach programs. That's why we go to your corporations. And by the way, and I've said many times, if any of you want us to come to one of my doctors, want to have us present on a very specific topic, may it be allergies or back pain or migraine headaches or immune function or diet to support cancer pathways, whatever it is, or just how to stay well, all you need to do is call our office. Call 703-698-7117. That's 703-698-7117 and ask for Dareth, and she will set it up for you. And they're absolutely no charge. These are our gifts to the community. We feel that our mission in part is education and try to get you as educated as we possibly can so, in fact, you can help yourself. Bill, how can I help you? Thank you for calling.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I have pain in my groin on my left side.
Okay.
And I've had a bulge there for maybe more than a year, but it didn't hurt, and now it starts hurting, and it goes in and out.
That's a hernia, my friend.
My quadricep.
Yeah, that's a hernia. What you're getting is referred pain down and up from it. So if you have a bulge and it's you push it down and it pops back up. You push it down, pops back up. That's a hernia. And if you're getting pain from that, it's because it's compromising the nervous system, and you'll either get, in many cases, a hernia. You'll get pain as a man into the testicle, or you'll go down into the leg, or it sometimes radiates upwards. But you have to have that taken care of.
Okay, operation.
Yeah, probably. And today, if it's not involved, that type of surgery is very easy, very clean, but you want to go to somebody who has done tons of those, because they're in and out surgeries. You go in, and within 2 hours, you're out of the hospital and you're going home.
All right, okay.
Okay, so it's very, very...
Come back for the stitches?
And there'll be follow-up to take a look at it and so forth, but it's really, unless it's complicated, it's really pretty simple surgery today. But again, a bulge like that's now causing you pain is... So
how soon I have to take care of it?
When you can't tolerate the pain anymore, or if all of a sudden you see your testicle on that side get big because it's going in there. Bill, I've got to take a break. Thank you for your call. I appreciate it, but don't neglect that. Have that taken care of. It's important. And, it makes your life pretty miserable having that there. It stops you from doing the things that you want to do. We're coming up to a break, and we have to pay attention to some of those people who make this program what it is. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. And remember, you can get a hold of me here on the program or outside the program. We'll look forward to hearing from you. Be right back.
If you're looking for the best in natural health, wellness, and green living products, shop the Roselle web store on Amazon.com. You'll find a variety of products and resources that are designed to help achieve an ultimate state of health and wellness. Shop the Roselle web store on Amazon.com today. Visit drtomroselle.com and click on Roselle Web Store. That's drtomroselle.com and click on Roselle Web Store.
Breast cancer is a major health risk to all women. It can silently grow uninterrupted for years. Hi, this is Dr. Tom Roselle, host of Dr. Tom Roselle Live, reminding all women to conduct monthly and annual breast exams. Also consider a thermography scan from the thermography centers as an adjunct to your routine breast exams. Thermographic imaging can detect abnormalities years before a mammogram, and it's safe and non-invasive. For more information, call 888-485-7736 or visit thermographycenters.com. Welcome back. This is Dr. Tom Roselle. You've been listening to Dr. Tom Roselle live at 888-630-9625. We're here every Sunday at 12 noon, bringing you the most intimate information on integrative and natural therapies. You got to be here, because this is the only place you're going to get it. This is the only spot that tells you the truth, that's willing to step up to the plate, take the slings and arrows of everybody else, and answer your questions honestly. So remember, you can get a hold of me here at 888-630-9625. You can do it on the computer, online at drtomroselle.com, drtomroselle, or you can call our office at 703-698-7117. Talk to my staff, tell them you'd like to talk to one of my doctors, and we'll be more than happy to entertain. And always, you're invited to any of the programs that we do in health. And don't forget, October the 19th, Ageless Health 2013. It will be at the Fairview Park Marriott Hotel in Falls Church, Virginia. It's a day that you will never forget. You'll be able to find that information online in May, but I want you to save that date. Let's go to the phones. Charles, thank you for calling. How can I help you?
Yes, I had a question about the PSA test, the prostate test.
Yes, sir.
I had, in previous years, had pretty low readings, like of about 0.66, and recently, about a month ago, I had a test, and it was 1.56. And the urologist, even though it seems to be in the normal range of 0 to 4, the urologist was a little bit alarmed because it, more than doubled, and wants to do a biopsy. And I was wondering what your thoughts are on
Short answer is no. Here's what you do first. How old are you?
I'm 59.
Okay, so a jump in PSA is nothing more than a measurement of inflammation within the prostate. It doesn't tell you anything else. Now, if you do a PSA, a total PSA, and a free PSA, and then you look at what happens, a free PSA should be high, and a total PSA should be low. So let's say this. If your free PSA was at 20 and your total PSA is at, we can even say at 2.5, 2.5. your risk level is very, very, very low, and to do a biopsy would be, in my opinion, ludicrous. Now, but you got to do both markers. Most physicians don't like doing them; they're expensive, and they like to jump in. They'd like to do the biopsy because it makes a car payment and that sort of thing. So. I would do that first, but understand that PSAs, one marker by itself, means absolutely, positively nothing. You need to have a repeat, and if you get 3 of them that pop up or they're starting to move up, and you see a free PSA starting to come down, then that's a warning sign. Then you need to do something. But there's so much that can be done through acupuncture, through nutrition, through low-energy light laser. You can shift all kinds of things. So those are your parameters. And, Charles, if I can help you in any other way, let me know. I'm more than happy to show you the guidelines. Thanks for your call. I appreciate it. I hope that helps. I'm sorry that I had to cut it short, but we're coming to the end of the program. But, in my opinion, medicine jumps way too fast. Matter of fact, the guidance now is not to do the PSAs as often as infrequently, because but if you're going to do them, you do total PSA and you do free PSA together. But bear in mind, total PSA simply means inflammation and nothing else. We're coming to the end, unfortunately, and as much as I'd love to stay here for another 3 hours with you, can't be done, but you can always give me a call. This is Dr. Tom Roselle, looking forward to next Sunday with you with brand new information. See you then. Bye.
Are you dental phobic? Do you neglect your dental health because of fear and anxiety? A beautiful smile begins with exceptional dental care, and you can trust in the expertise of Soft Touch Dental Care and Dr. Michael Chung. Soft Touch Dental Care is unlike any dentist office you'll ever experience. Their warm and welcoming environment is designed to soothe fears and anxiety the moment you arrive, and they're especially pleased to pamper their honored guest patients. Dr. Michael Chung is a professional and leading expert in all areas of comprehensive dentistry, including cosmetic, sedation, neuromuscular, TMJ, and implant dentistry. Offering state-of-the-art technology, Dr. Chung can give you the smile of your dreams. Arrange for a complimentary consultation today with Dr. Michael Chung and experience the expertise that makes Dr. Michael Chung so unique. Call 703-319-6990. That's 703-319-6990. Or visit bestinsmile.com. That's bestinsmile.com.